hook. Then grab the middle. Don't have to worry about the hooks. Come on. Pretty nice, like 20, 21, 22 inches. Hey guys. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how I set up my A-rigs for striper fishing. As you guys can see in that clip, it's pretty effective, especially during the winter time. Fall transition into the winter time, and when the months are cold out. This is like a magnet for stripers. So I'm going to show you guys what I use and why I use it. And basically it will look like this. So start off, kind of messy, but this is where I keep all my A-rig stuff. You're going to need a A-rig. This is my favorite A-rig that throughout the years I've used them all, and I've settled on this one. It's like 10 bucks on eBay if you could find them. But this is the stainless Terminator rig. 8 inch is my favorite. It comes in 5, 8, or 10 inch, and I like the 8 for a very specific reason. It also comes in the titanium arms. I prefer the stainless arms over it. As far as swim baits, I really like using just flukes. My personal favorite is the Swimbait Super Fluke and Pearl White. In the wintertime, these seem to do very well. You could try, you guys could do Kitex and other swim baits, but these are pretty cost effective for me. I think they work pretty well, so that's just what I use. As far as hooks goes, on my outer arm, I either use I use Swimbait hooks. And brand wise, I really like the generic Bass Pro XPS Swimbait hooks. They're kind of pricey, but they're very strong. The next bang for the buck is the Fusion Swimbait hook. This is the one with the corkscrew. And so what I do is I just take one of these flukes, I corkscrew into the head, and just run the Swimbait through the body. It works pretty well, and you can also have it. You can also bury the point of the hook into the fluke, and then it becomes weedless. And that's very important why I use Swimbait hooks. I'll take that out, and I'll actually rig one up for you guys to see. So I use Swimbait hooks, and I usually put 1 ounce, 2 ounce, or 3 ounce jig head in the middle, just like how this one's set up. And again, very important, I like all my weight on the middle arm. And again, I'll go into that in a minute. So let's get closer and I'll show you guys how to rig up. Alright, so here's a close look on what you're going to need. Obviously you're going to need your A-rig. Like I said, I like these Terminators. These are the Fusion Swimbait hooks, and I'll show you guys how I hook that up. For demonstration, I'm just going to be using a 1 ounce jig head. This style of jig head works pretty good. I also like the Spro style jig head. You can also use a bucktail that comes pre-rigged with the little fur. That works really well as well. You're going to need a bag of flukes. You could tail, without tail, it doesn't matter to a point, and I'll get into that as well when I start rigging them up. And you'll need a pair of pliers, fishing pliers. These are just regular household pliers. So open up this guy. So there is a difference between the stainless rig and the titanium rig. The titanium rig comes with titanium arms, and they are pretty okay, decent. When I first started out, I really liked these titanium arms, and then after a while, I really started to like the stainless arms. This one's been used, so all these are open and kind of holding on to each other. So this is the titanium. Both of these come with pretty stout hardware, and that is exactly what you need when you're setting up one of these A-rigs. This hardware, this clip is, I think, rated for 78 pounds. I think it was 75 pound. So they're pretty stout. Beware, a lot of A-rigs that's on the market come with pretty cheap hardware. So if I was to use any other ones, I would switch them out to something more stout. These are rated for 75 pounds, which is pretty good for what I use them for, and mainly that's just striper fishing. So this rig has a lot of pulling power when it comes to catching stripers, so you definitely want to have good hardware. But anyways, kind of transition off the topic a little bit, but this is the titanium rig, and then this is the stainless rig. I prefer the stainless because the titanium, their arms are fixed, so you can't adjust them anymore. They come pre-bend, so that's a good thing. It's also a bad thing. On my A-rigs, I like to bend my arms out as far as possible, so I'll bend this one out to show you guys. And I mean, by the time I'm done, they're usually like, my arms are standing straight out as much as possible. And you kind of want to make sure they're kind of even. I did a pretty shitty job on this one. So let me bend this back. You don't want to bend these arms too much. They're pretty strong, but they will break over time if you bend them back and forth too much. So the reason why I like this one is because I actually like my A-rig, my arms straight out like this, and that's just less of a chance of them bending in and hooking into each other. This one, like, as you guys can see, pretty stout. I won't have any really weight out here, except for the fluke and the Swimbait hook, so that's not too much. But on the titanium rig, even though they're pretty bent out, they're pretty weak, and they tend, your baits can fold in and, you know, hook onto each other, and that's the only reason why I don't really like the titanium rig. But I mean, it is really strong as well. So okay, let's go ahead and start rigging this one up. So like I said, I bend my arms out as much as possible, and that, it'll be okay. It doesn't really affect casting. So let's put that aside. Let's start rigging up the hooks and swimbaits. So the reason why I like swimbait hooks is because I use this as you guys see in the video. I use A-rigs a lot at dams, and here in Oklahoma we have a lot of people that fish our dams, and all those people are actually catfish, the catfish guys, and they snag a lot. So at the bottom of the river, of the dams, there's a ton of string. It's basically a whole nest of nothing but fishing line down there, And the thing about A-rigs is you have a lot of hooks, and obviously you're gonna hook up to those line if you get close to them. So the reason why I go ahead and use Swimbait hooks is because of this. Look, so you can run it just like that on the arm, but if I know that I'm going to be fishing close to the bottom and basically letting this almost drag on the bottom, I just go ahead and bury my hooks into my fluke, and then it becomes weedless. So, but that doesn't mean that I won't hook up into the stripers. When the stripers hit these things, they hit it so viciously or so hard that this thing will just pop out and penetrate. Most of the time, I don't even set the hook. So that's usually what I do. So that's what I do for my flukes. But for my demonstration here, I'm just going to set it up really quick. These right here, these are the Berkeley Fusion Swimbait hooks. This is, I believe, the 5/0 hooks with the corkscrew. Oh, the way I start my flukes is by the time you screw in the fluke into the head, you want to make sure that your swimbait is sitting upright, correct, like that. So that's correct right there. And if you guys see, this corkscrew begins over here but ends over here, so on the opposite side. So what I do to combat that is I flip my fluke upside down and I start on the other side of the fluke and then make my way all the way up. And by the time I get to the top, it is centered. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then I just measure out where the hook's gonna come out, bring my hook in through out the top, and usually works out pretty good. Again, if I was fishing the bottom water column and I know I'll be really close to the bottom and all those lines, I'll just bury my hook just like that. Alright, so again, put my swimbait hook on. Put my swimbaits on actually over here. And ideally, I don't bend out the legs until I get on the water. So I just keep it closed and all together. And when I rig everything up, crimp everything down, and then when I do finally need to use it, I'll bring it out and bend my legs, and that's how you save space. Because these things are pretty big and they take up quite a big area in your tackle box. Make sure it's crimped, and I'll do all the corners, and then I'll show you the complete product. So if you guys can see right there, all you gotta do is take your needle nose plier or any plier and just crimp it close. See that? Close that gap, and I close up that gap, so it shouldn't open up at all. You see that? So here is the finished product. My little Terminator snags rig. Any other A-rig out there will probably work. This is just my favorite setup. Straight arms, swimbait hooks, crimp down your hardware. Make sure your A-rig does come with good hardware like this one. Put the weight in the middle, and whatever swim baits you guys like to use. Fluke works pretty good for me. Bury these swimbait hooks into your flukes or your swimbaits. Come weedless. You could basically run this, bounce it off the bottom. I sometimes go ahead and run it like a J head with a weed guard. That works as well. Again, when these stripers come in and they hit 90% of the time they'll hit this middle one right here, and they'll hit it so hard I don't even have to set the hook. They just hook themselves. So yeah. Or you can also run a weighted swim bait hook here. It's you know, the possibilities are basically endless when it comes to this setup. But hope this gives you an idea of how I rig up my A-rigs. So this is how it usually casts out. With this setup, it does not helicopter, and so when you're casting, pretend my hand is my rod, and you cast out, right? Because all the weights here, it'll turn your A-rig around, and it'll actually just fly out like that, and it'll land like that on the water. And that's awesome because it keeps everything from getting tangled up. Because that's one of the issues that I've had with other A-rigs that I've used in the past, is they'll always tangle up. This one, the way it's set up, weights in the back, so it casts out, and it always lands like that. And then you just let it sink to whatever depth you want, and slowly start retrieving it back. And it does the trick. It works really good. I'm not saying this is the best setup out there. You can literally just go get a Yum A-rig from like Walmart and go out and you'll be able to cast striper as well. But just in case I hook up into like a big class striper, I wanted to be able to be stout enough so that I could have a chance of bringing them in. I've had lots of time where my hardware was just crap, and the big ones would hit it and they would just break off right away from like the clip, and you guys don't want that to happen. So that's basically it. Quick rundown of my A-rig setup. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I will leave a link to all this stuff in the description down below. And if you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also hit the bell notification so you guys could get more simple tutorials like this for shark fishing or fishing in general. So thanks you guys for watching, and I'll leave you guys with this other clip. See you guys on the next one. This is what I'm afraid of. No, this is bad. This is really bad. Hey, Rick, I'm stuck. Ah, he got off. There's your proof. Hopefully you got that on video.